Claude Opus 4.5 recently came out and everyone's been losing their minds over it. It's the best AI coding model ever created. Apparently it beat every single engineering candidate on their coding exam, but I tried using it for something completely different. I turned Claude into my personal AI-powered ADHD journal instead, and it's genuinely changed everything for me. How I process my emotions, how I regulate stress, and how I create content for this channel. I'm going to show you the exact system that I've been using to help me manage my busy life, where I have to juggle ADHD, a full-time job, parenting a very energetic toddler, and trying to create a successful YouTube channel in my spare time. First, let's talk about why everyone's been losing their minds over Claude's latest updates. Claude Opus 4.5 beat every other AI model on the world's hardest coding test, but that's not even the craziest part.
Wait, what?
There's another update that changed everything for me. They basically solved the AI memory problem. Before this, when you'd have longer conversations with an AI, eventually you'd hit a wall and you'd have to start over from scratch. The AI would forget what you talked about earlier. Claude now uses something called infinite chat, which summarizes earlier parts of your conversation as you go along. So basically, you can now keep the conversation going for as long as you need to, and it remembers the important stuff, so you don't have to keep explaining those things over and over again.
Why don't you explain what that is to this so they can understand? Just explain what that is.
So why does that matter if you're not using it to code things? Because Claude can use the same intelligence it uses for coding to also understand emotional problems. That same brain power that can manage huge complicated projects can also remember everything about your entire day, connect patterns across weeks of journal entries, and ask follow-up questions that actually help you understand how your brain works. Now, let's talk about why journaling is so powerful for ADHD. The science is actually pretty interesting.
Yes, science!
Expressive writing activates your prefrontal cortex, which is the exact part of your brain that ADHD affects the most. Research shows that structured journaling can reduce ADHD symptoms by up to 40% when you do it consistently. It helps you spot patterns in your behavior that you never notice on your own. But here's the problem. Traditional journaling requires things that ADHD brains really struggle with. You have to remember what happened, you have to hold on to those memories while organizing them, figure out what's important, and turn everything into clear sentences, all while staring at a blank screen. If you have ADHD, that's like asking someone to juggle while running a marathon. I actually had a Notion journal for over a year, but it didn't work. I would type everything out about my day, but it couldn't do anything with it. It didn't give me responses or helpful insights. Eventually it just felt like a chore and I got bored of using it. That's exactly the problem that Claude solves. It removes that blank page paralysis and gives you structure through conversation. Instead of staring at a blank screen trying to organize your thoughts, you just talk to Claude. You dump your thoughts and it handles the organizing, the questioning, and the pattern recognition. It feels like talking to a friend who actually understands exactly how your brain works. And that's the difference between a system you stop using after 2 weeks and a system you actually stick with. Let me walk you through exactly how I set this up, and don't worry, it's honestly way easier than you think it might be. Open up Claude, click projects, then new project, give it a name that makes sense to you. I call mine personal progress partner because it sounds way better than ADHD journal thing. Now here's the important bit. You need to give Claude custom instructions so it knows how to help you specifically. Just tell Claude who you are, what your daily life looks like, what you struggle with, and what kind of support you actually need. If you're a content creator like me, ask it to keep track of anything that you can use for your own content too. Copy those instructions into the project settings and click Save Instructions. Claude will then automatically create a memory section based on your conversations. This lets it remember all the important stuff so you don't have to keep explaining yourself over and over again. You can also upload files if you want. I've actually uploaded some of my YouTube video transcripts to turn Claude into a world-class expert on YouTube videos so that it understands my content style. Now, here's the best part about this. You can do this completely for free.
Shut up and take my money!
Claude projects are available on the free plan. You get 5 projects, which is more than enough to set up your own AI-powered journal. So how do I actually use this to journal? I've built this into my evening wind down routine. So every night around 8:30, after Charlie's hopefully fallen asleep, I open up the Claude app on my phone. I dim the brightness just so it doesn't mess with my sleep. I open up my personal progress partner project and I just type out everything I remember about my day. What happened, how I felt, what I'm thinking about. I give it as much detail as I can, and that's it. I type everything out, hit send, and Claude responds in seconds. It analyzes everything, explains my feelings clearly, and gives me genuine encouragement about what I'm doing. It takes about 10 minutes, and it makes my head feel so much lighter before I sleep. All of those thoughts that are swirling around my brain up here are now out of my head and onto something I can actually see and process. Let me give you a real example from my journal a few weeks ago that shows exactly why the system works. I had a perfect morning. I woke up at 5, done my meditation and morning stretches, watched some anime, I'd done a full body high intensity workout, just normal things that most people do every morning. Then I drove Charlie to childcare. I got out the car and some random guy comes straight towards me and has a massive go at me for where I parked. He was really aggressive and rude, and I could have very easily snapped back at him. I was very angry, but my 2-year-old son was in the car and probably confused, maybe a bit scared. So I took a deep breath. I calmly looked this man in the eye and I said, "Look, I'm really sorry about that. I'm literally just dropping my son off. It takes less than 2 minutes, but you know what? I'll move my car now." And he was about to continue having a go at me, even though I tried to resolve the situation. So I stopped him mid-sentence firmly and I said, "Look, I've apologized. I'm moving my car, end of," and I walked away from the situation. Honestly, I think he was just looking for a fight and expected me to snap back at him, but I took a deep breath and I chose to be better than that, to set a better example for my son than that man had. But the thing is, I wasn't prepared for that confrontation at all. I don't like conflict, I never have, it's just not me. I had a perfectly organized morning routine, which was completely derailed by some random person who was clearly having a bad morning. That felt so unfair to me, and it could have very easily ruined my entire day. The old version of me would have come home and spiraled into this quiet, moody version of myself for the rest of the day, constantly thinking about all the different things I could have said to him, and I would have been completely unable to focus on anything else. But here's what I did instead. I came home, opened up my personal progress partner in Claude, and told it the entire story. What happened, the anger, the frustration, the unfairness of it. The first thing that Claude told me to do was breathe. It validated my emotions by saying, what you just experienced would dysregulate anyone's nervous system, but for an ADHD brain that thrives on structure and predictability, that unexpected aggression completely destroyed your entire morning regulation. It then went on to tell me about how well I handled the situation. It told me I stayed calm under immediate attack. I acknowledged the situation without taking blame, and I set a firm boundary when the other person continued to try and have a go at me. It also explained a bit more about the science behind ADHD brains and why the situation hit me so hard. It talked about how ADHD brains are more sensitive to perceived unfairness, and then came up with a simple solution to help me dissolve my anger and move on with my day, which is exactly what I did. I used my punch bag to take out some of my anger. I splashed cold water on my face to reset my nervous system. I done some deep breathing exercises, and then I wrote out exactly what I wish I had said to give my brain an outlet to close that psychological loop. And then I completely forgot about it and just moved on with my day. That morning could have completely ruined my entire day. Instead, I managed to turn it around because I had a system that helped me properly process my emotions and move on to what actually matters. And here's the best part, I can now use that situation as a story in my videos like I'm doing right now. I'm processing my emotions and building my content library at the same time. Now, some of you are probably wondering why I use Claude instead of another AI tool like ChatGPT or Perplexity. 3 reasons. First, memory. Claude remembers everything across hundreds of journal entries and connects patterns that you'd never spot on your own. That pattern recognition helps you go from feeling controlled by your ADHD to actually understanding it. Second, it's the most human-like AI tool I've ever used. Claude's responses don't feel generic or robotic. It picks up on how you're actually feeling and not just what you're saying. It asks questions like a real person would. It knows when to dig deeper and when to just listen and reflect back what you're going through. And third, privacy, but you need to set this up properly. Claude now trains on your conversations by default unless you opt out. But don't worry, there's a really simple fix to this. Just click your account icon in the bottom left corner, go into your settings, click privacy, and make sure to turn off the help improve Claude setting. It takes about 30 seconds and it just gives you way more peace of mind. Alright, so let's quickly recap the main points we went over in this video. First, structure over willpower. Traditional journaling doesn't work as well for people with ADHD. It causes too much blank page paralysis and doesn't actually give us insights into the way that our minds work. That's where Claude comes in. Tell it everything that's happened, let it organize everything, and help you understand your own thoughts and emotions better. Second, your morning routine is your emotional armor. You saw it with my parking situation story. That 5 a.m. routine wasn't just about productivity, it was about building the emotional capacity to handle any chaos without spiraling. Protect your routine ruthlessly. It helps you prepare for any unexpected situations. And third, your mess is your message. Every struggle you face, every moment of overwhelm, every small breakthrough is a story that can help someone else. Use Claude to identify those moments so you can stop telling generic stories and start sharing authentic ones. And look, I need to be really clear about something here. AI is not therapy. I'm not suggesting it should replace working with a real therapist. I'm just sharing my personal experience using Claude as a journaling tool to process my thoughts, spot patterns in my ADHD behaviors, and build more self-awareness. If you're in a similar position, you have ADHD, you struggle with traditional journaling, and you just want a tool to help you process your emotions and thoughts, then this might be helpful for you too. If you're wondering exactly how I use my AI-powered journal to create videos like this one, I'm currently building the ADHD Creator System, a complete step-by-step guide that teaches you everything you need to know to start using AI to take your real-life experiences and turn them into stories so that you can help others. If that sounds like something that could genuinely help you, I'll leave a link to the waitlist down in the description. As a free bonus, I'm giving out my free Notion template with my ADHD-friendly AI prompts to anyone that joins the waitlist. I know what it's like to constantly feel busy and overwhelmed, to always feel like you're behind, even when you're trying your best to keep up with everyone else. I've been there, I'm still there some days. But here's what I've learned. When you stop fighting your own brain and you just take some time to understand how it actually works, you can start building systems that work with your brain instead of against it. And that's when everything changes. Not overnight, not perfectly, but things do get better one step at a time. That's exactly what this journaling system gave me, and hopefully it can give you too. And if you enjoyed this video, you might like to check out this one over here where I show you how I created my AI powered system that helps me make YouTube videos like this one that you just finished watching.